Hey everyone, Julian here. Today I'm going to be showing you how Fred again makes full Future Garage tracks. To go along this video, I'm going to be using actually the track template from my Definitive Future Garage sample library. The link for that is at the top of the description. Like I said, you get this full track template in there, plus all these drum loops, effects, hi-hats, kicks. It's literally everything, plus synth loops as well. Everything you need to make a full track, literally everything for this style. I've got a little coupon code as well. Definitely use that at the top of the description. Don't miss out while that's still available, guys. Limited time offer. And yeah, thanks so much for the support. Enjoy the pack. It'll really get you where you're trying to get with Future Garage. There's not a lot of great sample packs for this style, but this one I've designed to just be the perfect one, all in one stop that you need. Link is at the top of the description. Thanks for the support, guys, and let's dive in. Alright, so we're at 136 BPM. I think usually between 130 and 140 is good. You can maybe go a little bit higher or a little bit slower, but ultimately those really seem to work best. And usually these tracks, I start with the drums. You know, I think good drums are really key to this style. This beat has to really hit. It's not like that kind of Future Garage where it's very like quiet and chill. You need like the drums and the bass to really be hitting like this. And this starts with the kick and the snare above all else. Like when you make these tracks, you really want to start with those two, because it's those two, kind of that call and response between the kick and the snare, that the rest of this groove is sitting on. So for these, these are actually from the pack. So this is like this big 909 style kick that I made. I've converted it to mono, and then we've also got a snare. There's a little low pass filter automation on the snare for some parts in the beginning, so we can kind of come in and out. But yeah, if you get those two, this is also from the pack, the whole thing sits a lot better. And then from there, I usually grab like the hi-hat. Right, we got these two layered together. Again, these are all from this Future Garage sample library. Like this tambourine type thing. And then this one. You want these to be really short and punchy. And another thing I've noticed when I was referencing these and listening to like Fred again, Over Mono, those kinds of guys, their tracks, even like Fortet, I really noticed this. You want to turn that hi-hat up a lot. Like when you listen to the whole mix, that hi-hat should be right up on top. If you bring it down too low, or if you forget to, you know, really bring it up at the end of the mix, it feels like it's missing something. And you can sit there all day compressing your drums and wondering why it doesn't work. But usually if you just turn this hi-hat up, it'll really smack. So then for the rest of the drums, we have some percussion down here. So it starts with this like Foley percussion loop. Right? Like some live percussion, you know, recorded, and then I chop this up. We've got this one, which you heard moving all around. So what this is all this percussion. This is literally like a bunch of the percussions from this sample library. I just dragged them into a drum rack, and then you can just find, you see, I didn't even necessarily use all of them. I think I used most of them, actually. But you can just create grooves out of this, and it's just throwing in 16th notes, like, and if you listen to this with like the kick and the snare and the hi-hat, so you're just kind of creating that like underneath groove, basically. And then you just high pass it. I've got a low pass here with an LFO on it, moving it around. Right, so it kind of like morphs and shifts. And then we've got that side chain. We got this one. And then this one as well, which just has a high pass on it. So then that creates all that kind of like underlying percussion. This stuff is obviously very important as well, but you really have to have those main layers down first before you even touch this. And then we also have this. I took this little like effect sound. This is also from the pack. And kind of created a hi-hat out of it. Again, just like sound design with different types of things to create drums is really important for Future Garage. That's where you get a lot of that texture from. So then the next thing, once you have those drums down on the group there, you can see the only processing there is on the group is just a bit of a low pass filter in the beginning, just to bring that in. That's all it is. So from there, you really want to move up to the bass. That's like the next like foundational thing. Again, a lot of people think you want to focus on like synths and background vocals and stuff, but it's really like the drums and the bass that I think are really gonna nail these tracks down. And see, the bass kind of defines that chord progression, because if you listen to all these different other synths, they're not so much defining that progression. This is why you want to focus on the bass first, because that's going to really give you that chord progression, and then all these other synths can do whatever they want to do. Right, like all that, and you still have that like main defining progression to kind of hold it all together. So what we're doing MIDI wise here, so the progression, we're in the key of B minor. We're doing B, so root note, D minor third, this F sharp, which is the 5th, which usually you'd go down to the 6th there, so that's why. See, but. And then the minor 7th, which walks nicely back up to this. We've got some octaves as well. That's all those are. For the actual sound, it's 2 layers. So I was really trying to get that like big, full, watery Reese. Even though it sounds simple, you really do have to like layer together sometimes to get this. So I'll turn off all the effects and then we'll go from there. So it starts with this, right? Just a nice wide unison saw wave. And then we've got this one, which has no unison. It's just 2 detuned saw waves. So you kind of put those together, and it creates one really full, fat, super saw type Reese. And then we've got this amp. We're actually cutting a bit of sub. You can see not much. It's still bassy, but it just cuts out those like really like frequencies that you can't even really hear that much, that really do weigh down your mix. And then the last thing is we're actually low passing this to get that like watery Reese. But you still do the amp before that because it makes it a lot fatter. Like if I turn, so here's with the low pass but no amp. And then with. See what I mean? So it's filling it out even if you can't hear it. So then we have these like little effect stabs. Right, some pitched effects from this pack that I'm talking about here, the Definitive Future Garage library. And those are just kind of coming in. Right? Almost like burial style. And when you play them in the full mix, you can see there's a bit of effects, right? They're being high passed, delay, reverb. There's some low pass filters moving around to give it like, you know, kind of build through the arrangement. When you play it in the whole mix, it adds something nice, and it just kind of like comes in and out. So it's not just only synths that are just constantly playing. There's also something like that, which is a bit more random. And then to do that, we've also got this drum rack. So what I did here is I grabbed a bunch of effects from this pack, right? And then I just dragged them into a drum rack. And then I just have these MIDI clips with these are hitting like every now and then. You know, just like kind of almost randomly, but always on beat. See, and then it just gives you some background sound. So you have some stuff between this and then the pad samples here that's just kind of like, again, not just like steady MIDI synths, but also some audio that pops in and out. This is really important for Future Garage. Then we have this pad kind of like, so what this is obviously with this style, you know, it's a lot of audio. Like I think you don't just want it to just be all MIDI synths where you sat there and made a patch. A lot of times these tracks are made through taking audio and just doing really weird things to it. Especially when you talk about obviously like a lot of the legends like Fortet, Burial, of course. You know, Fred again does this as well. But basically what this is it's from this pack over here. I took this pad loop. I think it's from this maybe. That, and then you can see I pitched it up like very high, 34 semitones. But see, see, MIDI wise, it still works with the bass. And then I have it going through some reverb, sidechain to the kick, high pass, and then a low pass, which moves a lot, right? So you see that this is like got a lot of changing. It's not just the same thing the whole way through. But see, it fits together musically there. And it gives you something that's like audio that's kind of manipulated that adds a really cool texture. Then we have this pad, which is MIDI. So what's happening here is these are like these 2-note chords I'm creating, where some of them are like normal chords and then some of them are just combinations of notes. Like this here is just a simple B minor, right? But then this is not like this should be D major here, but it's kind of like D and then the 9th of D major, right? But see, it creates these like nice chord melodies again, not perfectly following that baseline chord progression, but then when you put those together, it creates something really nice. And so for the sound on this one, what's happening is we're using this voice sample actually. So what I'm doing here is you can see I have this in a simpler. It's like this one shot. I'll play it. Okay, it's just that. And then I'm looping that. And we have this start and length brought down and then the fade. So it's kind of like, you know, just going through the sound like that. I have a little bit of vocoder. Here, I'll turn these off again. Okay, so a little bit of vocoder. Kind of gives it some texture, right? Some flanger. And a tiny bit of bit crushing, which is honestly, you're barely even hearing it. Delay, reverb. A little bit of saturation, and then this EQ here with a little bit of a low cut. Then we got this pad, which plays pretty much just, yeah, it's playing the same thing, but it's just like a little bit of a different sound for the ending. Right, so that it's not just that same pad the whole way through. This gives us, you know, a little bit more variation. This is a square wave inside of Wavetable with a low pass, and we've got an envelope on that, kind of making it a bit more punchy. A bit of noise unison, delay and reverb, little bit of saturation to give it some texture, high pass, and then this low pass again, just bringing it out. It's a great way to make this have a lot of variation because this is never in the same place twice, so it gives you something, you know, very fresh that's always changing. Then the last element here, you can see it's a pretty simple track, but the last element is this gated pad. Alright, so the way that this started is like this. It's from this sample here inside of the sample library. It's that. I'm pretty sure I reversed it or something. No, I didn't reverse it, but this is another one where I just pitched it way up. So again, it's already getting really crazy and kind of like textural and just adding something, you know, more so melodic and texture at the same time. And it fits with the bass still. So then I added this gate. So what we're doing is there's this little operator down here, which is just a bit of white noise. Right? Just doing that. It's muted. But then if you take a gate and sidechain to that, you can make it do that same pattern. And then the threshold is basically like the amount. Right? So I've got that down there. Then a bit of delay and reverb, high pass, and then just a low pass to bring it in and out. And there you go. You just have to make sure the gate's playing at the same time, because if you get rid of the MIDI that the gate's playing, see, you don't hear this. And there you go. So that is how you make a full Future Garage track in 2023. Thank you so much for the support, everybody. Make sure to like this video as well as subscribe. I really appreciate it. Like I said in the beginning, you can get the definitive Future Garage sample library. Links at the top of the description on my website with the discount code for a limited time only. Definitely don't miss out. While it's available, it's got this full track template plus a full library of sounds, everything that you need, plus synths and project files to make your own tracks. It really is a great comprehensive library that I promise if you grab this, you'll be able to make awesome Future Garage tracks. I wish I had this back in the day when I was trying to make this stuff. There's nothing like this. and it really would have helped. So thank you so much for the support, everybody. Link is at the top of the description, and I will see you tomorrow with another video.